Hello everyone, welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. Today we have a special episode for you. We have the mastermind nutritionist George Lockhart with us. If you guys don't know George, he's the guy who does pretty much everybody's weight cut in UFC. He pretty much trains all the UFC champions, the ex-champions, and too many to name UFC pros. How to cut weight, how to reload, how to maintain your weight during camp. All your questions you guys posted up on Reddit. Thank you very much. And before we get started real quick, we're going to be giving away, Reebok is going to be giving away 2 gift cards for anybody who shares. We're going to give away 2 gift cards. If you want to get a chance to win the gift card, you got to share or like or comment on this episode. That's all you got to do. You got to tweet it, Facebook it. Anytime you do that, you put your name on the hat. We're going to contact you through YouTube messaging system. If that's not set up, we're going to find you through Google+. Okay, so make sure one of those 2 is set up and we're going to be able to contact you. And if you do it through Twitter and you win, or Instagram, we're going to tag you and message you directly there. And George is also going to give away something. George, what are you giving away?
I'm going to give away a premium package for Fitness VT. Those you don't know about the Fitness VT, it's the web-based that all the fighters are using. They tells you what to eat, when to eat, how much to eat, and you'll be directly connected to me. It gives you a messaging center so you can ask me any questions that you have on the diet that you have. It'll be set up specifically personally for you. Like I said, for anybody who wins the premium package, it's $100 a month, and for you it'll be a lifetime for free.
Lifetime for free. Make sure to like, share, and comment, and you're going to get a chance to possibly win membership to George's website, Fitness VT. Okay, so it's $100 value a month. That's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome. Okay, guys, with that, let's get started. First question. The first question, the most upvoted question is foot width for toes. Asks, hearing a lot lately about ketogenic diets. What are your thoughts?
Honestly, the body uses a lot more fats than a lot of people think. When we think about energy, we think about carbohydrates, and the truth is our body uses carbohydrates very easily. But when we're in a very sedentary environment, if we're sitting, standing, walking, anytime my body's in an aerobic state, meaning it has oxygen, I'm able to breathe, our body's primarily using fats as a primary source of fuel. So we're always using a mixture of macronutrients, but when I'm at rest, my body's using a lot of fat. So think of it like this: we use just real basic stuff. I will say you need to give your body what it needs when it needs it. So if I'm sitting around all day long, I don't need to be eating a ton of potatoes. I don't need to be eating a ton of rice, bread, things like that. If I'm sedentary, getting good fats. And when I say good fats, a lot of diets, they kind of just hit the mark with you need to eat fats. Your body always wants to stay in a state of homeostasis. I want to eat a combination of omega-6 and omega-3s, and they have to be comparable to each other. A 2-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 is good to go. Just remember that omega-6, my heart, my hair, my nails, my body needs this. It's kind of like the gas pedal or the gas to my car. I always use the analogy of the body of a car. The body needs that gas. Unfortunately, though, if you have a car that doesn't have a good filtering system, doesn't have a muffler, it'll break down, and that's what omega-3s are. Omega-3s is what gets rid of the excess of that car. If you break it down in a real primitive manner. So you need a mixture of the two. It gives you good energy. It'll give you what you need, and it's not going to pack on excess weight. I'm not going to get into the whole portion size, but when you talk about a ketogenic diet, Fitness VT, we actually start off in a ketogenic diet. The thing about it is if you have a day where you're running around, you're doing physical activity, let's say you're working out 2-3 times a day, even once a day, then it's going to raise the amount of carbohydrates that your body requires. So you might not be on a ketogenic diet, but in terms of the macronutrients that you need more or less. But just stick with the simple rules. Give my body what it needs when it needs it. Last thing I'm going to say is I don't always want to be eating just fats and proteins because my brain works primarily off of glucose, and I need to give my brain what it needs. So everybody, you use your brain all day long. Make sure that you're eating foods that are gonna fuel that, which would be fruits and vegetables. Fructose is the best thing for that in terms of fueling the brain without having an insulin response. Meaning insulin is what helps or tells our body to store things. If I'm not doing any physical activity, I don't need to store anything, but I do need to fuel that brain.
Yeah, the best concept I like when people are doing ketogenic diet is it's carb timing. Like you got to know when to have the carbs.
Absolutely.
Before and after exercise. You know, if you're on a ketogenic diet, the best time to have those carbs is before and after exercise. What did you say?
Right. If I was gonna choose between the two of them, post workout it's essential. You know.
Carb?
Yes. You gotta load up. Yes. You gotta load up on them carbs.
Well, what about right before? You're going to the gym. You haven't had any carbs. You're gonna wrestle. You're gonna box.
I want some carbohydrates, but a lot of times when I do that, I usually give fighters or people fruits. Not fast acting, like super simple carbohydrates. I'll give them things like blackberries, blueberries, and then I also give them the kefir.
And that's all year round, or just when they're cutting weight?
All year round. You know,
All year round.
someone wants to eat a clean, healthy life. You know, like timing, like you said, is extremely important. So if I'm getting ready to go work out, I need to, I got to look at the hormones of the body. When I eat protein, it releases a hormone called glucagon that tells my body to use free fatty acids and store glycogen. That's stored energy. I want my body to do that, so I want that release of that hormone. I don't want to have a low blood sugar or anything like that when I start working out. Especially if I'm doing an explosive workout, doing something like sparring or heavy weightlifting. But post workout, I definitely need to take in fast acting carbs, and a lot of them. Depending on the intensity and the duration of the workout. A lot of people don't realize this, but they'll work out. They don't have anything after the workout. They'll be like, "Oh, I had a protein shake," and then they get home about 2-3 hours later and they're starving. And at that point, they overindulge themselves. If you give your body what it needs when it needs it later on, it's not going to be trying to.
What do you have immediately after a workout, roughly?
Man, me, I like to eat my carbs. I'm not saying that's the best thing, but it's just, I always say there's the perfect diet and then there's a perfect diet for you. I like to eat, so I'll have like things like raisins right after I'm done working out, even cranberries. You were talking about dates. Dates is a really good one. A lot of sugar. It's fast acting. It gets to your body, and replenishes your body, gets you what you need, and it's also got magnesium and a bit of calcium in it too. So
excellent. Okay, next question is from Sneaky Man. Sneaky Man, it's a pretty long question, but basically what he's asking is, he goes by calories in, calories out, and he's saying that he gets pretty lean when he's calculating his calories, but he wants to know, is it important what he eats? Like, should he only focus on calories out, or does it matter where he's getting those calories?
Right. The one thing, you're saying this, any diet that you're consistent, like I'll say just about any diet that you're consistent on, you're going to see results. If you do the Atkins diet, the Zone diet, the Paleo diet, the grapefruit diet, you're going to see results. And one thing with the calories in, calories out, if you maintain, you're like, I got to eat less than 2,000 calories a day, and there's consistency to it, you're going to see results. The kicker is how am I going to feel? How's my health? And how's my performance? And also, a lot of people, it's about aesthetics. How am I going to look? A calorie isn't a calorie. If I eat a protein, right? If I eat 100 calories in protein, 40% of those calories are going to actually be used in the breakdown of that protein. It increases the thermogenic effects of my body. My body actually heats up when I eat that protein. So I'm actually receiving less calories. So it's like I'm only getting 60 out of that 100. If I eat carbohydrates, the fact's not going to be the same. My hormonal responses aren't going to be the same. I'm going to release a lot more insulin when I eat carbohydrates, which is going to tell my body to store things. Like we just talked about, timing it. There's times that I need to use energy. There's times that I need to store energy. Are you going to lose weight if I like I said, if I keep it a calorie deficient diet? You're absolutely. Can I lean out to the I guess exact amount that I want to? If I want to get 5%, 4% just with calories in, calories out, definitely not. You're going to have specific types of foods, specific types of macronutrients to get the body that you want, the health that you want, or the performance that you want.
So basically what you're saying is some foods you eat, it's 100 calories, but it could be a very different 100 calories depending on what you eat.
100%.
So 100 calories isn't exactly 100 calories. It depends what you eat. If you eat 100 calories of protein, it's not the same as if you eat 100 calories of bread, for instance.
Yes, 100%. Totally, totally different things.
You got to spend calories to digest that meat, so it's not really 100 calories. So.
And that's just one example. When you're talking about energy, trying to get, let's say, if I'm taking peanut butter right after I'm done working out, it digests, the fat digests slower than any other source any other macronutrient. I'm not going to replenish my body quickly or efficiently at all if I'm having that post-workout. So let's say I have peanut butter before I go to bed at night, and then I have carbohydrates right after I work out. And let's say I switch that. Same amount of calories, but I had peanut butter right after I worked out, and then carbohydrates right before I slept. Energy is going to change. Physique's going to change. Performance is going to change. The more I refuel my body, the better I'm able to perform. The better I'm able to perform. More calories I burn, and it just kind of trickles down from there.
What's the best bang for your buck? What type of food is the best bang for your buck? What's the category?
Best food?
Yeah, like you get the most out of it. Kind of burns itself,
Man,
type of food.
That's a tough question. Like
it would probably be like whole foods mostly, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh,
you're processed foods are
100%. Yeah. You wanna
they break down too easily.
I keep it real simple. If it comes from the ground, it's really very easy for your body to break down. The more processed something is, the harder it is for my body to break it down. Like you eat a protein bar, it's gonna sit like a brick in your gut. They've done a lot of advances over the years in protein bars and things like that, but typically you go and get like a protein bar and it'll sit in your stomach a lot longer than, let's say, a potato or rice, beans, things like that.
Awesome. Okay, next one is from J27. He wants to know, how imperative is carb cycling heading into a fight? It must be difficult to balance the carb intake and water, because he's saying like carbs load up water in the system. So he's asking, when you're cutting weight, when you're trimming down, how important is carb cycling? When do you cut the carbs? When you cut the carbs, you're cutting the recovery, but you're also cutting out the water. Like, how do you balance that?
Right. It doesn't take long for your body to use the amount of stored carbohydrates. Your body stores carbohydrates in the form of glycogen. With Fitness VT, we find out exactly how much glycogen your body holds based on the amount of lean body mass that you have. We take that and we find out, okay, each kilogram of lean muscle tissue holds about 13 grams of glycogen. When you look at it, the average person, it'll take 1 to 2 days to actually deplete that. And do I want to just cut them all out the last 1 to 2 days? No. Why? Because your brain, like we said, is using those carbohydrates. Your body is using it. It's very easy for your body to use carbohydrates. If I cut that back the last couple of days in terms of starchy carbohydrates, post-workout carbohydrates, your body will be, almost in a ketogenic state. We want to basically have our stores empty on weigh-in day, and maybe for like an hour or two. We still have our fighters eating carbohydrates the day before weigh-ins, and then a little bit the day of weigh-ins. So in terms of cutting out carbs, a lot of people do it way too quickly. The last week you're going to be getting a lot of fruits. You got to make sure like we're feeding that brain, because if your brain's tired, you're not able to go do that sauna work, the road work, or whatever activity it is that you're going to do. You got to remember, this is what a lot of people forget when it comes to weight cutting, is you're not actually losing any weight the last week of the fight. You are, but in terms of a thought process, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. So if I have, a lot of fighters come in about 15 pounds over, so you're 15 pounds out. To lose just 10 pounds, I'd have to be at a deficit of 35,000 calories. So if I was eating 21,000 calories a week, that would be 7,000 calories a day, right? Or how much is that? No, that would over 3 days. 35 divided by 7, that's what, 5,000 calories a day. Most people don't eat 5,000 calories a day. So if let's say I did eat 5,000 calories a day, and I didn't eat anything at all for the week, I'd still lose only 10 pounds. I'd still have 5 to go. It's not any weight that you're actually losing. It's all water. So everything's got to be conducive to losing water. Everything that I eat. So, we do like cucumber, lemon. We make sure that the body is very alkaline during the last part of the cut, because we also give like things like dandelion root and the uva ursi, which is more effective in an alkaline state. So you got to remember, I need to fuel the body to do the cut, and everything that I eat's got to be conducive to losing water, not so much at a deficit to lose weight.
You're not trying to lose fat. Last week of the fight, you're trying to lose water.
Yep.
Yeah, that's definite. Okay, the next one here is from Steve Dibel. Does George believe in a vegetarian diet? Is it possible for an elite athlete?
Absolutely. There's a lot of elite athletes that are vegetarians. It's a lot more difficult with my fundamentals, like my principles that I use. But is it possible? Absolutely. I work with Aaron Simpson, who's a vegetarian, and he was an elite athlete. I think Gray Maynard, he's vegan. You got Nick Diaz, Nate Diaz, they're both vegan, you know, and I'm bringing up MMA fighters, but you have professional bodybuilders that are vegetarians. Using the principles, the reason that I don't do that is I'm very much like solid blocks. So, you know, like a lean meat is a protein, and you have like coconut oil would be a fat, and then you have fruit, which is a carbohydrate. I like doing that because I can manipulate X, Y, and Z. When it comes to a vegetarian diet, a lot of the foods you have are kind of combined to get a complete protein. You might be taking in quinoa. Well, quinoa's got protein, but it also has carbohydrate. How am I going to remove the protein without removing the carbohydrate? It makes things a lot more difficult for me, and you know, that's why I don't do that a whole lot. You know, I work with fighters that'll do that, and people that are vegetarians. But our program, it doesn't work with the vegetarian diet simply because we can't remove those blocks.
There you got. Next one here is Mestiz. He's been consuming a lot of protein shakes, etc. He wants to know, can he get his protein just from protein shakes?
So our body, 10% of your metabolism actually comes from breaking down foods. When I'm eating whole foods, my metabolism is increased. But also, you got to look at the bioavailability of foods. When I eat something, not everybody's body absorbs nutrients the same way, you know. And the truth is, there's certain things that I need to do to make sure that the bioavailability of food is increased. Some things that are actually better in supplement form, like glutamine. Glutamine's in a lot of meats and things like that. And if I take that supplementally, that's great. I'm going to get a pure form of that. Taking BCAAs, again, it's going to help with protein synthesis. Glutamine helps with actual permeability of my intestines, so everything is absorbed better. But when it comes down just to drinking shakes, it's not giving my body exactly what it needs. Like the bioavailability of that protein, it's not going to be as effective as eating chicken or eating fish. My body needs that. My body actually needs to eat these foods to get the nutrients.
If we had two twin brothers, genetically identical,
yeah,
one of them eats. They're both eating the same meal, except with one of them you replace the protein with just supplements.
Right.
But you give them everything. You give them the BCAAs, you give them the protein shakes. One guy's eating flesh, one guy's eating supplements. What's the difference? What happens to their bodies?
The big difference is, like I said, the bioavailability. If I have a guy that's just having those shakes, his body's not getting the nutrients. I'm eating, just because I'm eating nutrients doesn't mean my body's getting them the same exact way, if that makes sense. Imagine, let's say I got plumbing, right? My intestines and everything is like pipes, right? And I got sludge in my pipes, which a lot of people do because they don't take the right probiotics, they don't clean out their system. But with that being said, just because I'm eating the foods doesn't mean that they're getting absorbed. Now, let's say I got a guy with clean pipes, it's absorbed a lot more proficiently. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that one's got clean pipes, one's got dirty pipes. What I'm saying is, if I'm taking those shakes, the way that my body does this, the time span, the amount of, I guess, like glycemic load as well, it takes longer for my body to digest it, so it's able to get more of those nutrients. That's why eating fiber is so important for people. It slows the digestive process down so my body can digest and absorb those nutrients more proficiently.
And it keeps you cleaned out?
And it'll help you keep you cleaned out.
Next one is from Guar. Guar wants to know, he says he's skinny fat. He's lean, he's muscular, but he's got a gut, he says.
Right.
How does he get rid of the gut without getting rid of the muscle?
So getting rid of the gut, this, a lot of people, it's called, I'm having a brain fart. Oh my goodness, it's been a long week. Spot reducing, right? A lot of people, they come to me and they're like, man, I just want to lose fat in my stomach, Unfortunately, everybody's got fat cells, and they have different amount of fat cells. And some people have, let's say, more fat cells in their triceps and their hips. That's the way a woman's basically designed on the most part. Men are mostly basically designed with more fat cells in their abdomen region. Now, with that being said, cortisol, increased amounts of cortisol, which is called a stress hormone. It's actual glucocorticoid that is designed to help get rid of inflammation. It's also help for fight and flight. But to keep things on a basic level, cortisol is one hormone that has actually been shown to increase the amount of belly fat in an individual. If this is something that you're facing, this is something, that's one thing that you can address to maybe, you're not really spot reducing, but maybe addressing why you have excess belly fat. things that a lot of people do and they don't realize this is increased inflammation is going to increase that cortisol. Some things that increase inflammation is a lot of foods that we eat. One of the biggest ones is the amount of omega-6. Like I said earlier, your body needs omega-6. It's an essential fatty acid, meaning that my body cannot produce it on its own, meaning I have to intake it through food or supplementation. The average American gets about a 15-to-1 ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. Now, with that, you need to get, like I told you, you need to get a 2-to-1. So if I come to you and I say, you know what, you're like, George, I want to get big, I want to get ripped. And I'm like, all right, look, we're going to get rid of food, and I just want you to take, like, Explode or some, crazy supplement. You'd be like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life, right? But for people to eat a 15-to-1 ratio, and omega-6 causes inflammation in the body, right? And then they take a Motrin, and they're like, man, I still got inflammation. That's the same. It's kind of the same principle, exact same thing. You're trying to get rid of something with a little pill, It's not going to happen. So to get rid of that inflammation, what I do is I want to take in an equal amount of omega-3. Remember, we got to clean that system out. Omega-3 helps with the inflammation. Omega-6 causes a lot of the inflammation. Now, to kind of backtrack, cortisol is released when my body's inflamed. Now, everybody knows about insulin resistance. Everybody knows, like, some people know about leptin resistance. But if I look at, like, coffee, people, the first time they drink coffee, they're wired. Next thing you know, it takes 2 cups of coffee, then 3 cups of coffee. Next thing you know, you're drinking like pots and pots of coffee because your body's become resistant to that coffee. You're not getting the same outcome because your body's become resistant to it. Same thing with insulin. I spike insulin again and again and again and again. My body becomes insulin resistant. Well, as a child, you're eating this omega-6. Your body's releasing this cortisol. Guess what? Your body becomes cortisol resistant. Once it becomes cortisol resistant, then again, it goes back to, you see the science shows that increased amounts of cortisol increase the amount of belly fat, which is the most dangerous type of belly fat when you talk about like heart conditions. So if you want to try and adjust this in this manner, and I'm just talking just sheerly changing nutrition, increase the amount of omega-3s in your diet, decrease the amount of omega-6, trying to get like a balance, maybe a 2-to-1 ratio, a 1-to-1 ratio.
Where are we getting all this omega-6? You're saying it's 15-to-1, and we need to get it to 2-to-1.
Yeah. Name a food that has fat in it.
It's omega-6.
It's going to be omega-6. Unless it's flaxseed oil, chia seeds, or like salmon. That's the problem. The problem isn't like, man, like, where do I get my omega-6? Problem is, where do you get your omega-3s? Stick with shake or snacks. Don't actually consciously try and think about the omega-6. Eat healthy on your meals. So meals, think omega-6. Snacks, think omega-3. A lot of times I'll give fighters...
it's the ratio that counts.
The ratio.
It's the ratio.
When you... a lot of people... And this is something that people really, I believe, mess up. When you look at things like the China study, you look at, people with like blood pressure. They say, well, people with a high sodium in their diets, they have high blood pressure. What they find out, though, is it's not so much the high sodium, but it's the deficiency of potassium in their diet. People that have high potassium and high sodium diets typically do not have high blood pressure. Same thing with people like native Eskimos. They eat a lot of meat. Now, the China study says no meat whatsoever, and they showed that it drops cholesterol. Problem is, the study didn't show the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s. Yeah, people that have a high omega-3 count, Eskimos, they have very low rate of heart disease or any kind of issues in that department. So, stick with, like I said, stick with the ratios. Ratios are extremely important. You'll see that, like, it goes back to a calorie is not a calorie. It's not about how many carbs I'm getting. It's when I'm getting them. And then the types of fats. If I get all one type of fat, any kind of food is going to be unhealthy for you. If I eat broccoli all the dang time, I don't get a balance of it. My body needs a balance of everything. It's always trying to keep in a state of balance. My body's great at doing that as long as there's not extremes. And unfortunately, with the amount of carbohydrates that are accessible to us now, it's very easy to get that ratio crazy high, and that's why my body can't balance these things out. That's why you got obesity and heart disease and inflammation and everything else.
In a nutshell, snack on omega-3s, right?
In a nutshell, yeah.
Snack on omega-3s. Find your omega-3 sources. Next one here is Yucateco Bro. Please ask him on his opinion on a vegan diet. Fighters like Nick Diaz, Jake Shields, Mac Danzig, Trujillo now, he's just turned vegan. Can these guys become elite martial artists? Obviously they are, but they want to know more about the vegan diet. Now, we get a lot of death threats from vegans here and there, you know?
I know.
I think the vegans are the most passionate food enthusiasts out there. So where can they send their death threats to you, George? What's the email address?
What's my email address? I want to put a disclaimer. Like, no, I've never been against the vegan diet. I'm not against the vegan diet. I'm not against the vegetarian diet, because with both of them, they stick with the fundamentals and principles. It just makes it a little bit more difficult by the way that I do things. You know, what I'm telling you, like before a workout, I need you to get more protein. Why? Because you have a hormonal response to the glucagon. Post workout, I need you to get more carbohydrates. It's very easy to get these things through meat. It's very easy to get these things, you know, through eggs and things like that. So with a vegan diet, it just makes things a little bit more difficult. Not impossible, you know. And it's something that I don't think needs to be done. I think I am going to say that people have a common misconception that they're like, well, vegan is healthier or vegetarian is healthier. I wouldn't necessarily say that. But I wouldn't say that, you know, not being a vegan or a vegetarian is healthier. It's applying the principles and fundamentals, eating what your body needs when it needs it. If you can do that with the vegan diet, which you can, it'll work.
I got a question for you. A paleo dieter,
right,
versus a vegan,
right,
in a fight to the death. They both have the exact same skill level.
Oh man.
The only difference is their diet, and this fight is to the end.
To the death.
Who wins? Whose body breaks down first? Whose body produces better energy? Their diets are perfectly balanced.
Right. Yeah, next question.
Let's call it a draw. Let's call it a draw. Okay, next one is from PooCast. Is nutrition for training to be the fastest, strongest possible? Is it the same as a healthy living, or is it different? If you're eating to be an athlete or you're eating to be healthy, is it different?
No, and
it's not.
Here's the thing: when I say it's not different, the fundamentals and principles they always stay the same. You know, not everybody's built the same, so you can't give the same nutrition program to the same people. But the principles and fundamentals they always stay the same. When I'm working out in a high manner, if I'm in an anaerobic state, I'm always going to be burning carbohydrates. Now, here's the thing. People don't notice there's a difference between men and women, right? Women, during different types of, like, let's say their cycle, they're going to be burning more fats than men. So in a sub-maximal effort, like 75%, women are not going to be burning carbohydrates. So there are those instances, but it's still a fundamental or principle. If a woman is above that and she's actually in a high anaerobic state, she's going to be burning carbohydrates just like a man. So if I'm burning carbohydrates, that's what I need to give. I need to give my body that. I need to give my body that quick, fast, in a hurry, especially if I'm doing 2-a-days. So if you're training for speed and you're training for explosivity, you need those carbohydrates. Why? Because that's what your body's using. That's what your body's primary source of fuel is when I'm doing that. If I'm living a healthy lifestyle, I'm going to be eating the same foods that guy is during the day, except the only difference is I'm not going to have that post-workout shake. I'm not going to have that post or pre-workout supplementation, but I'm still going to be eating the same meals that individual's eating.
Anytime you're exercising, you need the carbs.
Not every time. Some exercises, like let's say I'm going for a jog, you're still in an aerobic state. You're not going to be needing as many carbohydrates.
If I'm training intensely.
If you're training intensely anaerobically, you need those carbohydrates right after.
Is there another reason to take carbohydrates if you're not training intensely?
Types of carbohydrates, like I said, the fruits fuel the brain. I don't want to take fruits right after I'm done working out. The reason being is because of the fructose. I want to make sure that I'm spiking insulin right after I'm done working out. My body's insulin sensitive right after I'm done working out, and I want to refuel those muscles quick, fast, in a hurry. I need that hormonal response. Is there time for carbohydrates? I honestly don't give people like the average person that's like, man, I want to lose weight. I want to feel better. I want to increase my health. I'm not going to be giving them a lot of starchy carbohydrates. A lot of the stuff I'm going to be giving them is fruits and vegetables. Why? Because they need to fuel their brain throughout the day. And they're still going to be fueling their muscles. Your body, I'm not saying that it's just your brain that uses carbohydrates. Your body's always using a mixture. But that mixture varies based on the intensity of your day and your workout.
Awesome. So you just be fixing the ratio.
Yeah.
That's it. That would be the difference.
Change.
More power athletes, you up their carb.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this question is from GSP is a lizard. What do you believe are the best sources of protein and what makes them better?
Okay.
Also, he wants to know what supplements you give your clients.
Okay. So starting with the supplements, I'm going to get that one out of the way real quick. That's personalized for each individual. The thing about it is, though, is everybody's got different needs. Sometimes somebody will be injured; they need more glutamine. You know, I give certain supplements to just about everybody. Like BCAAs help with protein synthesis. Glutamine you can give to just about anybody because it helps with the permeability of foods. It's also, I give it to fighters post weigh-in because it's actually permeable to the blood-brain barrier. It helps the body. It's like one of the only things that's permeable. The amino acids that's permeable to the blood-brain barrier, so they're able to reload quicker, more efficiently. It also helps with the immune system. These are all things that I think everybody needs, and the side effects are, you know, negligible. There's nothing. No one's going to OD off of glutamine. Vitamin D, most Americans, you know, I keep saying Americans because it's a majority of people I deal with, but like 65% of Americans are deficient in vitamin D. So increasing the amount of vitamin D in somebody's diet, this helps with absorption rate of things. A lot of people don't realize, like, a lot of foods that we eat, just because we eat them, we're not actually absorbing the micros and the macros efficiently. We need to have things that are going to help us do that. So vitamin D would be another one. Carbohydrates, in terms of carbohydrates, they can get them from any kind of source. I'm not privy to anything. Just as long as they're simple, I keep them simple and very, very easy to break down.
We're on. Keep going.
And in terms of protein, this is okay. This is kind of a funny one. So in types of protein, I will stick. You got a whey isolate, whey concentrate. Now you also have like pea protein and vegetable protein. If you're lactose intolerant, which a lot of people are actually lactose intolerant, a lot of African Americans, Asian Americans, and Latino Americans are actually lactose intolerant. A lot of people don't actually realize that they are. With that being said, if they are lactose intolerant, I want to give them a whey isolate. Isolate means it just removed all the lactose. Okay, if they are and they want to keep on the concentrate, we want to give them the enzyme lactase. Lactase is why somebody is actually lactose intolerant. A lot of times I don't actually promote a protein because I give kefir to a lot of people. Kefir's got the lactase. It's got billions of probiotics. Helps clean the system out, and like I said, it helps with the digestion process. In terms of like and I know what you're asking. You're probably like, what type of protein? I think the one that is digested most proficiently is actually vegetable protein and like pea protein. Yeah.
Vegans are loving you now.
I know,
they've forgiven you.
They're like, wait, this guy needs to make up his mind. But here's the kicker: like, you got like a specific types of proteins like that. But you know, you would, the amount of vegetables that you would have to eat, you know what I'm saying, it's astronomical. So when they actually make the protein itself, it's amazing stuff. It really is. It's good for your body. Your body absorbs it very proficiently, and we'll actually give it to a lot of fighters.
Nice. Vegans, please forgive George for eating meat. He said you were right.
I'm one of those meat eaters.
Next one. M. Whaler wants to know, what's a good way to start looking after your gut health? A lot of studies seem to show it's super important for general health.
Gut health is extremely important. When you look at inflammation in the body, it's equivalent. Like, if you look at studies, like 99% of diseases come from inflammation. And when we think of inflammation, we only think of inflammation in the joints, but we got to look at inflammation in the gut. So going back to the omega-6 and the omega-3, that's huge. A lot of stuff that we like to inflame, a lot of fermented things are going to help out with your gut. Things like kombucha. Drinking kombucha a lot is helpful throughout the day, and you're not going to get a whole lot of extra calories. The kefir, again, I keep going back to the kefir. This stuff's awesome. It's got a lot of probiotics, but a lot of people don't realize, like, probiotics, like the amount of good bacteria that it's going to introduce into your system is great, but I have to have prebiotics, and prebiotics are found in green foods, so green leafy foods. If you're eating a diet that's high in vegetables, like you're talking about like kale, spinach, things like that you got good greens, and also, you know, the kefir. So I got the prebiotics, I got the probiotics, I got the fermented supplementation. Either I can drink it, intake it, you know, and then also the omega-3s and the omega-6. If you keep that balance and then keep that ratio, that'll affect your gut health. And, you know, it is huge. It's very important. A lot of people need to take more, be more cognizant of that. But those are some simple things that you can do.
Awesome. Next one is Rora7. He wants to know, what's the ideal body fat percentage for athletic performance? Does it vary? Also, he wants to know.
Yeah, absolutely. Depending on what sport you're in, you know, you don't want to get too lean. I think for an elite athlete, 5% is as low as you want to go. You get any lower than that, fat is actually used for cushioning. Your body needs a little bit of that cushioning. So if you get too lean, you know, obviously if you're a bodybuilder, you know, 5%, you're probably one of the fattest ones on the stage, and it probably wouldn't be good for you. Like I said, it's going to vary from sport to sport. Average sport, you're talking about like football, obviously, unless you're a lineman or something like that. Football, you talk about running back, 5%. You talk about a fighter, 5%. But anywhere from 5 to 10%, you're looking good. You know, it's not gonna have a huge effect on your performance if you're 9% versus if you're 6%.
What do you think about the extreme, the guys who get down to like 2%?
Oh, like bodybuilders.
3%.
Yeah, that's.
Can they perform like?
Oh, bodybuilder.
Does it affect their performance?
Oh, 100%.
If they're gonna play sports.
Yeah, if they're playing sports, yeah, you know, you're looking at injuries like a bodybuilder. They're not out there. They're not going to be getting punched. They're not going to be doing sprints or anything like that. They're out there for aesthetic reasons, and it looks good aesthetically if you're 2%. But if you're actually trying to go out there and perform, it's going to have a huge impact on your performance.
Next question is also by M. Whaler, and he put up 2 questions that got a lot of votes. So this one he asked, what oils do you use in your cooking? What's the benefit of, like, which oil is the best, and what's the different types, and what's their benefit?
So the best oil like to use for cooking. So you have macadamia nut oil. A macadamia nut oil, when you look at ratios of omega-3 to omega-6, it's pretty low, and it's good to go. The cool thing about macadamia nut oil is that it also it's able to keep its properties at higher temperatures. Coconut oil, again, it's an MCT, it's a medium chain triglyceride. Your body kind of looks at an MCT almost like a carbohydrate. So it's easily and readily digestible. When you're cooking, it stays consistent at high temperatures. I think you can go up to 600 degrees and still cook with the coconut oil. Think about olive oil. If I'm gonna intake olive oil, I don't want to be cooking with it. I typically want to be putting it, like if I'm making like a salad dressing or something like that. That's when I want to use the olive oil. You know, key rule of thumb: olive oil don't cook with. Use for like dressings, toppings. Coconut oil, great. Macadamia nut oil, great for cooking.
Awesome. Next one is deficient hominid. What are good nutrition pairings for optimal absorption? Do you worry about pairing different foods?
No. Okay.
Some people really believe that you can't eat certain types of food together.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense. There's actually when you get into nutrition, there's like a rabbit hole. You know, if you literally, like, if someone's like, is this perfect? Like, there really is not a perfect, because if I'm eating greens, right? If I'm eating greens, my body needs an alkaline state for my body to break that down. If I'm eating meat, my body needs an acidic environment to break that down. If I eat those together, my body doesn't know what to do, so basically it stays neutral, which increases the amount of digestion time. And that's where these theories come from. If I eat, let's say I eat greens by themselves, my body's going to be able to digest that pretty easily. If I eat meats by themselves, my body can digest that pretty easily. Once I eat them together, my body's going to have a hard time. It's kind of, okay, am I in this state or am I in this state? So I'll stay neutral. Stay in a balanced state. So it's going to increase the amount of time that it takes to actually digest that food.
Really?
Yes.
So food pairing is a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Oof, man.
But at the end of the day, then you're like, okay, so we got food pairing. So it takes my body longer to digest. But what about when I got to go do a workout, or when I got to do this? It affects another principle of nutrition, which would be timing or types.
Me, the 2 foods I try never to mix is fats and carbs.
Right.
Those, I think, is the 2 foods you don't want to mix. Like if you're having a steak, you don't want mashed potatoes, and you don't want rice, and have a steak and vegetables. And if you're gonna have rice, or you're gonna have some kind of carbohydrate, a natural carb, should be low in fat. So if I'm eating fruit, I won't have fat with it.
Right.
I think that's my rule of thumb, and it's been good with me.
Okay.
I felt I always stayed lean when I don't mix fats and carbs together.
Yeah, fats, it's the slowest burning source of fuel, so it actually decreases the glycemic load. So if you're eating something that maybe is high, like let's say white bread, and your body absorbs it, and you're getting excess amount of that, eating it actually with peanut butter is probably
slow down.
Yeah, it'll actually be beneficial to you. But eating like candy and like gravy, I don't know, I can't think of anything without fat in it, but yeah, you're definitely, it's not going to be a good thing.
Awesome. Next one is from Triangle Kimura. He wants to know, how does he optimize his food intake during Ramadan? He doesn't want to lose muscle. He's already lost 3 kilos. This is something I get often. So Ramadan,
Right.
for those of you who don't know, in the month of Ramadan, Muslims don't drink or eat from morning to night. So from sunrise to sunset, there's no food intake whatsoever. So a lot of people lose weight during Ramadan. I gain weight personally because at night I eat way too much.
Right.
I bust the because the next day I'm in the gym all day without food or water. So some people obviously lose weight because they don't eat so much at night. What would you do if you're fasting every day?
Right.
What do you do to maintain muscle?
So the biggest thing, and the biggest worry over a month of doing this, if you're not eating all day long, your body becomes catabolic, meaning it's basically eating itself. It's eating its own muscle. Muscle burns calories faster than anything else out there. So if I'm losing muscle, my metabolism's dropping, which instead I'm eating less, and then I'll start gaining weight. Because of this. So I need to keep that catabolism down as much as possible. And like I said before, the slowest burning source of fuel that my body has is fat. So if I have a time to actually eat, I want to increase the amount of fats in my diet. Why? Because my body can go a lot longer. There's 9 calories for every gram of fat. There's 4 calories for every gram of protein, 4 calories for every gram of carbohydrate. 9 calories. So for every gram that I'm getting twice the amount of energy, and it's going to take longer for my body to use that. So if I'm fasting all day long, my body's got something to eat versus my own muscle. It's going to keep my metabolism up, and you'll actually lean out if you're doing this. Stick to good fats, good healthy fats. They say like peanut butter, nuts, and then like a lot of fish, a lot of salmon, things like that.
Awesome, thank you, George. Next one, last one, guys. We are out of time already, so last one will be Rhonda. This is from Rhonda Ruzd. Hi, George. Hi, Faraz. Do you think specific nutrients positively impact on your athlete's concentration? Okay, so for concentration, what are the best nutrients? What are the best foods for concentration? Say it, George. I know you've told me this before. You won't say it. Say it.
So
say it. Don't be shy. Tell them the truth.
What are you talking about?
Tell those vegans.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get kicked off here, but like I'm always studying stuff. You always find out, and you never want to follow the crowd and just be like, okay, I'm gonna do this because this is one of the things that have been shown to increase cognitive abilities better than anything is actually nicotine, which is crazy. A lot of people are gonna be like, what? Do you just have to go out there and look at the studies? It increases cognitive abilities like it's going like better than just about anything.
But don't do it.
But don't do it. I'm not promoting it. The question is how impact and concentration levels. Also, one thing that we talk about is inflammation. People that start our diet and they actually start increasing the amount of omega-3s have told us that then they feel like they've awoken. They feel like they're more awake, they're more alert because of the omega-3s. One thing that would help that, I've said this a lot, is the omega-3s, increasing the omega-3s. Now you can take certain supplementation like tyrosine and things like that, but in terms of just nutrients, I would stick with the omega-6, omega-3, get that ratio down. And I'm telling you, I know I've said that a lot today, but if you guys start doing that, you'll see a huge impact.
Snack on those omega-3s, right?
Amen. Snack omega-3.
All right, guys, we're out of time. I want to thank George Lockhart again. Thank you very much. Check out Fitness VT. Where else can they find you? You're on Twitter.
I'm on Twitter at
Facebook.
FB.
You're on the FB?
What's that?
No Facebook?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm George Lockhart on Facebook.
George Lockhart on Facebook. Twitter. I'm gonna put it up in the description, guys. Thank you very much. Anything else, George?
No, man.
Share and like and get a Fitness VT subscription free. All right, guys. Thank you very much. See you in the next episode.